The American scientist Alan Perlis said, "Fools ignore complexity, pragmatists suffer it, some can avoid it, geniuses remove it." Oddly enough, this quote is an apt summation of the principles behind modern complexity theory. Through years of analysis and formalization, our understanding of complex systems has continued to evolve and mature into a framework that allows us to dissect and compare the components of complex systems. By searching to understand complexity itself, scientists have been able to use that knowledge to unravel the complexity of systems that were previously incomprehensible. This rigorous study of complexity has changed the lives of many by unlocking a new level of understanding surrounding the many complex systems that compose our universe. The importance of understanding complexity is most apparent by first learning the basics of complexity, then how the framework is applied to systems, and finally about some of the important insights it has led to. First, what is complexity? To most people, complexity is a synonym for complication, which means consisting of many interconnecting parts or elements. Within the field of complexity, complex systems are indeed a subset of complicated systems, but with one distinguishing factor: a complex system exhibits emergence. In John H. Holland's A Very Short Introduction to Complexity, emergence is defined as the action of the whole system is more than the action of the parts. A great example of a complex system with this characteristic is the human body. At one level, individual cells within a muscle work together, acting on and sending signals to one another in a seemingly chaotic manner. The emergent property of these cells is seen in the next level of the biological hierarchy when the movement of the muscle emerges from the interactions between the cells. Much of the structure of a complex system is comprised of this hierarchical organization in which elements of one level are the building blocks for elements of the next. This is also where much of the difficulty in understanding complex systems originates. Since the behavior of a complex adaptive system is defined by the adaptive interaction between components, it is impossible to make predictions within a complex adaptive system without a formal framework to analyze these interactions. Next, the framework. Formally, a complex adaptive system is composed of agents that learn and adapt in response to the actions of other agents. Agents use various detectors, analogous to our five senses, to process and adapt to signals in their environment. This adaptation inevitably leads to the specialization and diversification of agents. This is because specialization increases the overall efficiency of the system. Examples of this include modern production lines and the different organ cells within our bodies. In both cases, the specialization of work increases the production of a specific resource by a specific agent, which in turn is used by another specialized agent to increase the production of another resource, and so on. The improved efficiency of the entire system regularly equates to one order of magnitude. In any complex system, the agents or communities of agents that do the most with the least resources will naturally outcompete other agents, leading to more diversification and localized coevolution. This tendency towards diversification and coevolution leads to the formation of different communities within a system, called niches, which are separated by boundaries. A niche represents a group of agents that interact with each other substantially more than the rest of the system. Using network theory, scientists can mathematically analyze and distinguish the various niches and boundaries within a system. Agents use signals to identify boundaries as well as other agents. One example of a signal is a protein that only passes through a specific cell's membrane or boundary to create a specific reaction. The protein created from that reaction then only enters the next required cell for the next desired reaction. Due to their ability to selectively receive signals, the cells are effectively an assembly line outproducing other cells for a selected protein. These boundaries play a crucial role within a complex system and are often indicators of a new agent. Boundaries are also the origin of most emergent properties. This is because new agents serve as new building blocks for the construction of new interactions and then new levels of hierarchies. You can think of a new agent as being an addition to the vocabulary of an underlying grammar. A boundary could mark a new insect in an ecosystem, a new distinguished pattern in a complex game, or a new cell assembly in a central nervous system. Modeling the interactions between these basic components is where much of the knowledge regarding complex systems is gained. Lastly, why is this useful? Formally defining and quantifying the elements of a complex system has been very helpful to researchers trying to understand the most complex of systems. A human nervous system, for example, is an extremely complex network of about 100 billion components with hundreds of trillions of connections. We simply can't model a system of that size, but by comparing it to other systems within the frame of complexity, we at least know where to look to find the true mechanisms of action within the system. Another example of a system that greatly benefits being viewed through this lens is an economic market. Markets are very complex systems with hierarchies of workers, firms, departments, and industries. They are also comparable to the less complex system that is a flock of birds. In each case, agents are aware of the actions of other agents in their vicinity and make decisions based on those actions. This results in larger trends and fluctuations, which lead to broad and predictable patterns in the market, or the flock as a whole. Principles like these are currently being used to further our understanding of markets in the field of complexity economics. In conclusion, even though complexity theory is still thought to be in its infancy, it's clear that this method of parsing systems is beneficial to our understanding of the most complex phenomena we observe. The deconstruction and examination of systems through the lens of complexity allows us to gain insights and generate models that otherwise wouldn't be possible. By first defining complexity and then applying a mathematical rigor to it, we now have a new tool that aids our understanding of things that are inherently difficult to understand. This idea rings true to another quote from Alan Perlis when he said, "Simplicity does not precede complexity, but follows it."